it's an interesting finding that, especially now that things are changing in the sense that a lot of startup companies are being founded by three smart kids in a garage, right? And they don't know what to do with their product, and they don't know what potential it has. They're not business people. And so, you know, there are statistics that have been run on companies like that say that 90% of those companies fail. They never actually make it. And so the question is why? You know, why are they failing? And you're all familiar with, for example, the NSF and the NIH, and they have a program called SBIR, right? You're all familiar with that. So about 10 years ago, they took a look at why 90% of their fundees were failing and all this money was essentially going into nothing. And what they found out was that the number one cause, which struck me as amazing, is that there's not a product market match. There's not a product fit match. And so you see, and we see a lot of these people in NAMSA as well. They come to us and they're asking for help, for guidance. And we look at it and say, that's an amazing technology. That's fantastic, but I'm not sure anyone's going to buy it or pay for it. And so the companies are laser focused on getting through regulatory, and that's great. They have to be, but FDA doesn't care if you sell a single product. That's not their job, right? So you get through it. And the first company I worked for when I left FDA was in that situation. They had a product, it was on the market, 510K cleared, et cetera, and nobody was buying it because they hadn't really gotten reimbursement, so nobody was paying for it. They hadn't gotten clinical adoption, so no physicians were interested in it. So what the NIH did was they set up this I-Corps program, which is kind of like an MBA in 7 weeks. But the point is, you have to consider all those things and then go out there and figure out, am I on the right track for all these things? And that's really what's not being done. And so when you look at the last statistic I'll give you before I shut up is that the average company spends 5.7 years, almost 6 years, between getting FDA marketing authorization and a coverage determination. Now, how many startups do you know can live 6 years with no revenue? So that's why they're falling into this valley of death, at least most of them.